All right, slate is up.
$50
That's
or
right,
something.
that's right. Phil Taylor, January 19th. Take one.
And take one. We won't show the hole in my shoe. No, we won't show the hole in my shoe, will we? No, we'll just put it in the outtakes. Ha ha ha. Is there one in the other shoe? No, but it's almost getting there. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, these shoes are 35 years old.
Okay. There you go.
Probably older than most of you guys.
And only one hole. That's
And only
remarkable.
one hole.
Good shoes.
British craftsmanship.
There you go.
See. I've got to give them up soon now because they're falling apart.
What inspired you to take up the drums?
Shoes.
Fine British shoes.
What inspired me to take up the drums? Well, I don't know if it was an it was less of an inspiration than a command by my dad, because I was getting in trouble with the law. You know, I was like a skinhead, and I was fighting, and at that rebellious age, and so my dad had to come and get me out of the Leeds police station once too many times, and gave me a good hiding, and then about a couple of days later, he turned up with a battered old snare drum, and said, "Here," he said, "Here, you bastard. If you've got to hit something, you can hit this." And he booked me like 2 whole weeks of lessons, 1 a week, at Leeds Music College, and so I dutifully went along, you know, being really pissed off, because I always banged on my mum's pots and pans when I was a little kid, but who doesn't, you know? And so I went along there, and the teacher that I had was an incredible guy, but that's another story. But he was 90 years old, and he was a World War I drummer. And after the second lesson, he said, "Well, Philip," he said, "I think you've got a natural talent for playing the drums. You should really take more lessons, you know." And I thought, "Oh, all right." So then I decided to go to him. So really, it was my dad that got me into it, but so I suppose I've got him to thank, but not in a way. I mean, because it wasn't done out of love or anything like that, you know. Yeah. But then I realised I had a natural aptitude for the drums, and I enjoyed playing them.
Did you then go on to listen to drummers and get inspired by players?
That's an amazingly stupid question, isn't it? No, I listened to fucking trombone players. Yes, of course I did. Yeah. Well, not specifically. I mean, I've never been like a fan, you know, of any particular one person, whether they be a drummer or a movie star or anything like that. So, I mean, I've always listened to music as a whole, you know, the whole song. And if there happened to be a fine drummer in the band, it usually stood out. Or maybe not, because, I mean, some of the best drumming that I used to like was, I used to like all the old Tamla Motown stuff from like the 60s, late 60s and early 70s. And there was a session drummer called Bernard Purdy, who I believe played on quite a lot of those sessions, and he was really great. He used to do all these, you know, that's where I picked up that hi-hat thing from. And yeah, I listened to lots of drummers really. I mean, my dad was a big jazz fan, and so what jazz records he had, you know, I'd listen to, not out of choice, but because he played them, you know. But since I started taking up the drums, and I had just a snare drum for about like a year or 18 months, and then he bought me a bass drum, if you could call it that. It was more like a dustbin, but you know, and stuff like that. And so I just listened to my dad's old records, and my sister, who's 5 years older than me, she was like listening to the Beatles and stuff from America, you know, and stuff like that. So I'd listen to her records. So I was getting a bit of a mixture. Nothing off the radio, of course. There was nothing on English radio. Well, unless you listen to Radio Caroline or something like that, or Radio Luxembourg, which I did occasionally, on pain of death from my dad. "Don't let me catch you listening to that bloody radio! Turn that bloody row off!" Yes, Dad.
Moving forward, several years later, the double bass playing that you used on the song Overkill. Can you tell me how you came up with that?
Yeah, all right. Well, I was just in rehearsal. At the time, we were just doing a few odd gigs here and there, not really making any money. Well, not making any money at all. Cross out the word, really. And but our manager at the time had a share in this rehearsal place. So I was just rehearsing. I just got a brand new kit, and which had 2 bass drums, of course. And so I was practicing, on my double bass drums, and I was just going, like that, and then I had a snare beat, and I was just basically just practicing that, seeing if I could keep time, and Eddie and Lemmy happened to arrive while I was doing that, and according to them, they said they stood outside the room, and they both said, "Oh, that's fucking good," to each other. Well, what else would they say to, right? And let's go in and start jamming with him. We could have a number based on that. So they came into the room and sort of mouthed to me, keep going, and they plugged in and Lemmy started playing, and then Eddie, and that's how Overkill came about, really.
The last couple of weeks, we've been interviewing a lot of metal musicians whose music has been sort of categorized as being thrash metal, and the drummers in particular have identified your drumming style as being a main influence, especially the double bass and that sort of intensity and the speed. I mean, why do you think these young kids, these teenagers, were latching on to the sound you were creating and going, yeah, that's exciting, that's what I want to do. I not only want to do that, but I want to do it better.
Could be incriminating myself here with this answer. Well, I don't know, you should ask. I mean, I don't know why. I guess maybe because Motörhead were the first, as far as I can remember, we were the first band to play really fast, all the other, at the time we just thought of ourselves, we were just a rock band, and then when the term heavy rock came in, then we figured, well, we're a heavy rock band, but we happened to play just that little bit faster than everybody else. As I say, yeah, again, it wasn't intentional at all. But I can see how I would be the influence of a lot of thrash metal kids, because all the bands that came after us, a lot of them, they intentionally wanted to play that fast, etc. Whereas for myself, I never intended to play intentionally that fast. That's just how it ended up, it's very nice. It's a great compliment to be cited as someone's influence. A lot of people still say that now and again, and I'm very flattered by that.
At the end of the day, what is heavy metal?
This is another one of them stupid questions. What is heavy metal? Well, heavy metal can be likened to this straw. You see, heavy metal started way down here, and then it went all the way up to here, where it bent and freaked off to this angle and came down like that. And then all of a sudden, one day, it was gone. And the universe still exists, and we're all here, I'm here, he's here, and that's what heavy metal's all about. It's also about this stuff. Or not this stuff. Now, moving on, next question. I don't know what heavy metal's all about. Same as before. What is it? What is heavy metal about? You're the journalist, you tell me. No,
it's full on, I guess, isn't it? It's
well, yeah. No
compromise, no holding back.
You should be answering the questions and asking the questions and answering them. Yes, it's full compromise, no holding back. It's like in your face, man. What do they do, all these heavy metal guys? It's in your face. My head's in your face. Yeah, no compromise. It's ass metal. Huge, great big majumba metal. Women with massive knockers. So grosse Milchgloggens. Mitten sie Waffen zu Trouserhosen und der Farten blasten from the Assenhosen. Mitten sie, oh yeah. That's heavy metal. Is that what you want?
Perfect.
Was that good enough? Can I go now? Thank you, everybody, and good night.